Today we're going to chat about signs and synchronicities. That's also a sign. So have you ever noticed that synchronicities occur, and those synchronicities allow you to become more aware of maybe what's ready to heal, what's still unhealed, or even just to let you know that someone that you love is with you, and just letting you know that they are here. Over the holidays, it was really amazing because out of the few shows that I watched, there were a couple different instances where my dad's favorite song was playing, and that just reminded me that he's always with me. And then it was funny because one of the girls that I was, one of the ladies here at the house, she was asking me, she goes, "What is the deal with Barb?" Like every time we watched a movie or show, there was something with Barb in it. And I'm like, oh, that's my mom. She's here too. But it's not just that. It's like this smoke detector that went off. I made breakfast for dinner on Christmas evening. And ever since Christmas evening, this smoke detector, I've replaced the batteries 3 times in it. And every time it just goes back to battery low, battery low. And I know it's also an indicator, you know, like I get to keep checking my battery. Is my internal battery running low? And to be honest, you know, yes, there's things that I get to do to help my body to make sure that it is being renewed, refreshed, restored. Because it is my responsibility, just like it's your responsibility to make sure your battery is renewed, refreshed, and restored. But the reason this is so ironic is this is a smoke detector and CO detector. And on Christmas of 2020, I almost died from carbon monoxide poisoning. And there's still a part of me that's a little not quite healed from the whole incident. And every time that that little detector goes off and it says low battery, it reminds me that any of those traumas that we hold on to, any of that pain that we hold on to, is helping to remind us that we have a low battery operating because we're not choosing to heal. We're choosing to keep alive something that is triggering us. And for me, right now, that smoke detector is my reminder that I get to heal and that I get to check my battery. And even though it's going off every 60 seconds to remind me, and it's ironically just like right outside my bedroom door, and there just isn't a way to stop it because it's like one that's plugged into, it's also wired, and I'm waiting for our housing director to help me out with that. But it's interesting. It's just really interesting. It's really interesting, the signs, the synchronicities. That went off on, it started on Christmas night, and I had my incident, like I said, it was Christmas of 2020, and I had carbon monoxide poisoning, and it was almost related to me as a joke, because I was taking care of my brother-in-law's home, who was newly remarried after my sister passed away. And my new sister-in-law joked that with her family member on the phone, and I overheard her say, "Oh, we almost killed my new sister-in-law while we were away on vacation. And yeah, and the reference to unplugging taking the batteries out of it. Just take the batteries out of it, Jacqueline. It's an old CO detector. Just take the batteries out. And instead of taking the batteries out, I moved it to a different floor of the house. And that was Christmas morning. And actually, it was Christmas Eve night that I moved the CO detector, and then Christmas morning, it went off. And I was nauseous and tired, and I did what I needed to do to make myself safe. So what's going on in your life that's reminding you that you get to create safety for yourself, that your life matters, and that you get to heal whatever is yet unhealed in you, and what signs are showing up? For me, it's this this carbon monoxide smoke detector that just doesn't shut up. Yeah, and it's so interesting. If you can see my eye, like my eye started puffing up, and it was actually almost swollen shut before, so it's actually doing really well now. So you haven't seen me for a few days. But the signs and synchronicities have been all around me these last several days. And it's part of my well-being to address them, to create safety for myself, and also acknowledge like how they've shown up for others too. You know, being in this space of helping to manage this sober living home. There's been some synchronicities with the girls as well. Different signs, different synchronicities, and I feel blessed. I feel honored to hold these spaces, and trust. I trust that everything is happening exactly how it's meant to. The only meaning anything has is the meaning that we give it. So I try not to give anything meaning. Just even the healing that gets to happen with the smoke detector and my carbon monoxide poisoning from 3 years ago, and all that. It's like I get to choose to be the victor of my life. I get to choose to write the storyline. So when something like this happens, it's actually a reminder, because our brain doesn't process and understand often that we are not in that same trauma moment. So that's when we get to pick up the pen and rewrite the story, to become the author, to become the lead actor, to become the director of our own life. Because if we don't do that, we're not reclaiming our energy. We're not reclaiming our voice, our power. And that's what we're here to do. Every trigger that happens in our life is calling us back home to our heart. So how do you get to acknowledge you, acknowledge your triggers, acknowledge the signs and synchronicities that are only there to call you back home to your heart so that you can heal? You're not meant to carry them. You're not meant to be the victim. You are not meant to be the actor in somebody else's story. This is your life. So what are you going to choose today? How are you going to recharge your battery? How are you going to fix those alarms in your life, those triggers in your life, so that they're there to support you, not to drive you crazy? Although this has tried. How do you get to realize? I remember when I was doing biofeedback work, there's the Saley chart, and it would be, you know, there would be like the alarm phase. The alarm is going off, and then there's adaptation, and then there's exhaustion. So alarm is when you hear the beeping going off. And then adaptation is when it doesn't faze you anymore. And exhaustion is just when your body is tired of giving you the signs and the signals, and you fall into a dis-ease within your body. And those traumas become so alive and real again. And we get to let those alarms alert us so that we can heal, not so that we can adapt and then go into exhaustion. We get to heal. Allow yourself to know, what are the alarms going off in your life? What are the signs that they're sharing for you to heal? What are the synchronicities that are showing up? Sometimes they're fun and wonderful synchronicities and signs. And sometimes they're there to create awareness. So with that, I'm going to leave it there. I could go in so much deeper on this one. And just to honor myself and honor all those involved, I'm not going any deeper than that. I don't need to. And I get to refresh and restore and revive my own internal battery. And that means reclaiming my own life, reclaiming my voice, and reclaiming my power. I'm Jacqueline on this day 16 of our 30-day journey into well-being. What are you reclaiming in your life today? How are you awakening to the alarms, the signs, and the synchronicities to live your best life ever? From my heart to yours, sending you the greatest amount of love that I possibly can share with you. And know that I am full. My cup is full and running over. And that is why I get to share with you today. With so much love. Bye for now.